Good morning friends and welcome to the pre-market view. Wall Street fell about 0.5 to 0.6%, though the jobless claim data that came out were better than expectations. In fact, jobless claims fell by about 29,000 to almost about 3,40,000, but as we don't have any headway or progress on the fiscal cliff front, the investor interest there is pretty low. European markets were also weak, about 0.3 to 0.5% down. And when we look at the Asian markets, most of them are soft as some of the data that came out from Japan today morning were not good, particularly with respect to the investor confidence. Talking about the FI flows, yesterday FIs were net buyers in the cash market to the tune of almost about 1400 crore, whereas the domestic institutions were sellers to the tune of about 666 crore. Overall, our markets continue to show some kind of a weakness over the past 3 to 4 trading sessions, and we've seen that the markets were not able to cross that 59.50 level. And in yesterday's last 1 hour, 1.5 hour trade, we saw a distinct weakness, which is quite concerning because on the one hand, we have the government which is taking the initiative in terms of reforms, and at the same time, we also have decent flows coming into the market by the FIs, as I pointed out before, that we've seen in this month itself in the cash market FIs pumping in more than about 5,200 odd crore. But despite that, the markets are not showing any kind of a strength, which is a bit of a concern. We'll ask Shaival what has he made of this entire move in the market, and has there been any major open interest built up in any of the sectors or stocks. On that note, let me invite Shaival. Good morning, Shaival.
Good morning.
Yesterday we saw distinct weakness in the market, and actually it broke 5,900 levels. And we've seen in the cash market that there's a steady flow of money coming into the market, but despite that we are seeing that it's not able to cross important resistance levels. So what have you made of this market movement from a derivative data point of view?
See, as you rightly pointed out that in cash market FIs have been net buyers, but if we have a look at the futures and options segment, in this entire series hardly 1 or 2 times they are net buyers, net buyer in the FNO segment. Rest all throughout the session they are net seller. So probably that is because the uncertainty with regards to the parliament and domestic uncertainty which they feel. They've been pumping in money on the cash side, but in FNO side they are not leveraging much. So that's the probable reason. The thing that is, they've been very concerned about the domestic issues which are going off. If those are cleared and if those are taken off, then probably we can again see a buying emerging in the market. And also one thing which is very interesting in the market is from past couple of trading sessions, Nifty future premium was around is ranging from 30 to 40 points, and this is a pretty high premium. Whenever we have seen such a high kind of premium, we have seen some profit booking taking place, and in yesterday's trade the premium has decreased. So what we can see is we can see some sharp bounces in the market, but we don't feel that market would sustain at the higher levels, and we may see some selling emerging at higher levels.
Okay, any other interesting ideas that you can share with us?
See, before moving on to the ideas, what I would point out is that to the option matrix, we have seen that 6,000 call option continues to add open interest and stand above the mark of 1 crore share. So for this series as of now, what we feel is 6,000 is the short-term hurdle for the market, and on intermediate basis, 5,900, which was the crucial level or say support for the market, has been broken because 5,900 was the weekly VWAP. Yesterday we have closed below that, and also we have seen that the open interest continues to add in both the strikes, 800 as well as 900 call as well as put. So we have broken 5,900. Now the next support would be 5,800, and on intermediate basis this would be the hurdle area, or say we can face selling pressure near 5,900, or say plus or minus 20-30 points on the high side.
Right, and any other interesting ideas that you can share with us?
See, we have identified 3 stocks from intraday perspective. Dabur is looking positive, so one can maintain a stop loss of 129 rupees. Biocon is looking weak, so one can go short on Biocon with stop loss of 288 rupees 70 paisa. And Dena Bank is looking weak, so one can go short with resistance of 116.55 paisa.
Right, Shaival, thanks a lot for that update.
Thank you.
Here are the important news and events that we are tracking today. First of all, today we are going to have the inflation data coming out, and the consensus expectations is that it's going to be about 7.6%. And as most of the market participants are expecting some kind of a rate cut by the RBI, this data would be closely watched by the market. And if we see surprise on the higher side, let's say about 7.75 or thereabouts, then it's definitely going to be a bit negative in terms of sentiment, particularly for the banking sector. Government is on the fast track as far as the reforms are concerned, and four important developments have happened. First of all, the National Investment Board, which is going to do a fast track clearance of the infrastructure projects for more than 1,000 crore, has been set up, and it has been referred by cabinet to the parliament. Also, the land acquisition bill has also been cleared by the cabinet. It has been put for approval in the parliament, where 80% of the owners, if they agree, then the private companies can do the land acquisition. Also, urea policy is going to be put up in the parliament for clearance, which is basically to incentivize manufacturers to invest in that, and also to ensure a certain post-tax return to the investors. And the spectrum price has been cut by 30% after the poor response to the first set of 2G auction. So overall, the sense that we are getting is that the government is in a mood to move ahead on the reforms front, but it remains to be seen what kind of response do they get from the parliament. As we said before, on the fertilizer front, this is basically to incentivize the producers and investors to put more capacity for fertilizer, and this will ensure a post-tax return of almost about 12 to about 20% for the investors, and definitely it's going to be a big positive for Chambal and RCF. And overall, the expectations are that the government is looking at an investment of 35,000 crore by way of this policy. Honeywell, which has about 84% kind of a stake in its arm, is looking at offloading about 6% of its holding, and the floor price has been set at about 21.50 per share, and the closing price of the stock was about 23.88. Suven Life Science has got some approval from China and Korea for the treatment of neurodegenerative diseases, which is positive for the company. One can really go long on that with a stop loss of 32.25 and a target of about 34 to 34.75. Reliance Industries has indicated that it has shut its 7th well on the KG-D6 basin for some technical reasons, and has asked for an approval to actually fix that particular problem, and this is a bit of a negative for Reliance. One can go short on it with a stop loss of 850 and a target of about 808 to about 791. And for NTPC, there are some negative news, as the Calcutta High Court has said that producers having capacity of more than 50,000 megawatts cannot set a high provisional tariff, as it's not in the interest of the consumer. So one can short NTPC with a stop loss of 154 and a target of about 146 to about 143. And today morning we had a news that the credit rating agency Moody has lowered the credit outlook for 3 of the PSU banks, PNB, Bank of Baroda and Canara Bank. So this is a sentimental negative for some of the PSU banks. So one can short PNB with a stop loss of 835 and a target of about 794 to about 777. That's it from all of us, friends. Have a great weekend, and see you on Monday morning.